Prime's exclusive wildcard playoff game is Saturday night. Jordan Love and the Packers take on Caleb Williams and the Bears. Not a Prime member? Sign up for a 30-day free trial to stream the game.
That's going to be caught for the touchdown.
NFC North rivals square off in the latest chapter of the NFL's oldest feud. The Packers and Bears in Prime's exclusive wildcard playoff game. Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Only on Prime. Sign up for a 30-day free trial today. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
Howdy, folks, and welcome to the Hunting Stories podcast, The Hunter's Brief, your weekly roundup for the most interesting, consequential, and occasionally offbeat stories from the hunting and conservation world. This week marks the first show of 2026 after my paternity leave, and I'm excited to mix things up a little bit. I decided that maybe there isn't quite enough news for a weekly news hunting show, but in addition to our regular news coverage, I'm going to start sprinkling in, let's say, interviews with people who maybe don't have hunting stories or don't want to share their hunting stories, but have something really fascinating that they would like to share with hunters. Plus the occasional historical episode that might dive into how maybe some of our modern traditions came to be. But for now, let's get back to the news, and let's dig into the headlines for the week of January 9th, 2026. Colorado hiker killed by mountain lion in rare fatal attack. A 46-year-old woman was found dead near Crozier Mountain Trail System in Larimer County after an apparent mountain lion attack. Hikers discovered Kristen Marie Kovach's body on New Year's Day and used rocks to scare away an adult mountain lion, which later was euthanized by wildlife officials. A second sub-adult male was also captured and euthanized when DNA tests linked it to human remains. The coroner reported that Kovach died of asphyxiation from the neck compression. Colorado Parks and Wildlife noted that this is the first fatal mountain lion attack in the state since 1999, and only the second recorded since 1990. Officials remind hikers to keep pets leashed and to appear large, make noise, and back away slowly if they encounter a big cat. Colorado's mountain lion population is estimated around 38 to 4,400 animals, and there have only been 28 recorded attacks on people since 1990. This matters because fatal cougar attacks are extremely rare, but they remind hunters and hikers that predators share the trails and that responsible behavior, like keeping dogs on a leash and carrying deterrents, can make the difference. Even seasoned outdoors people should remember that in lion country, you're not always the top of the food chain. Feds warn Colorado, follow wolf reintroduction rules or lose control. Tensions flared between Colorado and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service when Director Brian Nesvik sent a December 18th letter accusing Colorado Parks and Wildlife of violating the federal 10J experimental population rule. The letter said Colorado released wolves from British Columbia and returned a depredating wolf from New Mexico, actions that must involve wolves from northern Rocky Mountain states such as Wyoming, Montana, or Idaho. Nesvik demanded a detailed timeline of all wolf captures, relocations, and releases, and failure to comply could lead the federal government to revoke Colorado's authority to manage its wolf program. Colorado, which released 15 wolves last winter and had planned to import more from Canada, halted further imports after earlier warnings. State officials insist that local management is key to public support, while wolf advocacy groups call the threat to stripe state control unnecessary and heavy-handed. Colorado voters narrowly approved wolf reintroduction, and federal takeover could undermine a delicate balancing act between ranchers, hunters, and wolf advocates. Trump administration proposes Endangered Species Act rollback. In December, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and NOAA Fisheries released proposals to roll back several Endangered Species Act regulations to the 2019-2020 era. The plan would allow economic and national security impacts to be considered when excluding areas from critical habitat designations and restore a two-step process for designating unoccupied habitat. It would also require species-specific rules for threatened species rather than automatically extending full protections and revert to definitions and consultation procedures amended by the Biden administration. Supporters, including energy developers, of course, and some ranching groups, say the changes could streamline permitting and reduce burdens. Conservationists argue the proposal weakens habitat protections and ignores climate change threats. Promising legal challenges, a 30-day public comment period was announced, and the final rules expected late in 2026. This matters because it changes to the ESA rules can affect how lands and waters are managed, with ripple effects on hunting access and wildlife populations. When habitat protection becomes a budget item, endangered species may end up on clearance. Hey hunters, have you ever had one of those stories, the ones that you didn't want to tell, the ones that end in failure? Yeah, I've been there. Actually, you know what? The culprit for me usually is bad optics, or worse, lack of using my optics at all. Picture this. I spot a trophy buck, or an antelope, or an elk, whatever it may be. My heart is racing, but the blurry view, or I just can't quite identify exactly what I'm looking at, it has me second guessing. Well, that's where Vortex Optics comes in. With crystal clear glass and rugged durability, Vortex gives you the confidence to take the shot. Don't let poor optics ruin your story. Make every moment count. Upgrade to Vortex and turn your hunting tales into triumphs. Visit vortexoptics.com today. Hey hunters, have you ever had one of those stories, the ones that you didn't want to tell, the ones that end in failure? Yeah, I've been there. Actually, you know what? The culprit for me usually is bad optics, or worse, lack of using my optics at all. Picture this. I spot a trophy buck, or an antelope, or an elk, whatever it may be. My heart is racing, but the blurry view, or I just can't quite identify exactly what I'm looking at, it has me second guessing. Well, that's where Vortex Optics comes in. With crystal clear glass and rugged durability, Vortex gives you the confidence to take the shot. Don't let poor optics ruin your story. Make every moment count. Upgrade to Vortex and turn your hunting tales into triumphs. Visit vortexoptics.com today. Congress passes the Pet and Livestock Protection Act to delist wolves. Just before Christmas, Congress passed the Pet and Livestock Protection Act of 2025, directing the U.S. Department of the Interior to reissue the November 2020 rule removing gray wolves from the endangered species list. The measure, sponsored by Representatives Tom Tiffany from Wisconsin and Lauren Boebert from Colorado, requires the rule's reinstatement without regard to any other provisions or statute or regulation, meaning it cannot be challenged in court. Supporters say the bill will protect livestock and pets by returning wolf management to the states and giving ranchers more flexibility. Opponents warn that wolves have not fully recovered in parts of the West and Great Lakes, and that the legislation removes scientific review and public input. President Trump is expected to sign this bill. Nationwide, delisting would open up wolf hunting seasons and lethal management across much of the lower 48 states, affecting predator-prey dynamics and, of course, state regulations. Wolves may yet prove that when Congress cries wolf, the real drama happens in courts and on the landscape. Missouri elk poaching prompts $15,000 reward. The Missouri Department of Conservation is investigating a brazen poaching incident in Carter County after an adult bull elk was found shot and left to waste at the Peck Ranch Conservation Area. The elk, part of Missouri's restored elk herd, was discovered by a landowner on November 26th. The investigators believe it was killed deliberately rather than mistaken for a deer. The agency says at least one bullet passed through the animal and no meat was taken. A $15,000 reward has been offered through the Operation Game Thief program for information leading to a conviction. Elk hunting is prohibited in this area, and conservation officials stress that poaching jeopardizes the success of Missouri's elk restoration efforts. Elk were reintroduced in Missouri only in 2011, so illegal kills threaten the herd's growth and deny hunters a future opportunity at a legal hunt. If you're tempted to shoot an elk out of season, remember, the penalty may include a hefty fine and a lifetime of unwanted notoriety. Louisiana completes second modern black bear season. Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries announced that hunters harvested 16 black bears, 10 males and 6 females, during the state's second modern bear season held December 6th through the 21st. The largest bear weighed 565 pounds, and animals were taken across 3 bear management areas. 26 tags were issued via lottery, and Secretary Tyler Bosworth called the hunt a tribute to conservation partnerships and noted that the lottery revenue helps ensure the bear's future. All fees from the hunt are being reinvested into Louisiana's black bear program to fund trapping, radio collaring, winter den checks, and hair sampling research. The Louisiana black bear was removed from the federal threatened list in 2016 after decades of habitat work. This matters because the carefully regulated hunt showcases a conservation success, and it highlights how hunting revenues support wildlife management. In Louisiana, letting the good times roll now includes sustainably managing bears that were once nearly gone. Florida's controversial bear hunt sees 52 bears taken. Florida held its first bear season in a decade, and state wildlife officials reported that hunters harvested 52 black bears between December 6th and December 28th. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission issued 172 permits across 4 bear management zones and said the hunt was needed to manage growing bear populations of more than 4,000 animals. Critics, including Humane World for Animals, called the hunt a bloody spectacle and pointed to a poll showing that 81% of Floridians oppose bear hunting and even more oppose using dogs or bait traps. FWC executives insisted that the limited permits and conservative framework ensuring long-term population health. The last Florida bear hunt in 2015 was shut down within 48 hours after nearly 300 bears were killed. So all eyes are on how this year's results will inform future management. The debate underscores a growing national divide overusing hunting as a management tool versus non-lethal methods, a topic that resonates far beyond Florida's borders. As hunters, I think I know where we stand on this issue. However, whether you see a regulated bear hunt as a conservation or carnage, one thing's clear: the Sunshine State just added a new bear market to its economy. Those are the standout stories for this edition of the Hunter's Brief. Remember, we're expanding our horizons this year with interviews, deeper dives into hunting history, and other fresh features. So stay tuned, and if you enjoyed this show, subscribe and share it with your hunting buddies, your conservation-minded friends, and even that neighbor who still thinks venison comes from a vending machine. As always, drop us a line with any feedback. I really do want to hear about it. I also want to hear story ideas. If you have something that you want us to cover, please reach out. And keep standing up for ethical hunting, healthy habitats, and public land access. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and enjoy the great outdoors.